Dan Illman, Matt Bernie are taking a look at race number 9 at Keeneland on Bluegrass Saturday. It's the Grade 1 Ashland Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, hoping to take that next step to Churchill Downs for the prestigious Kentucky Oaks. If you're a DRF Bets fan, if you're a fan of horse racing, get involved. First post bonus on the prep Saturday. Bet $25 to win on one horse in race number 1 at Keeneland, Aqueduct, and/or Santa Anita. You get a $10 bonus, win or lose. Learn more at drf.com/preps. DRF Bets. Ready, set, bet. Let's meet the field for the Ashland Stakes. Again, 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th for $500,000. Really, the question of this race, Matt, is whether the number 4 Jaywalk, last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner, will get back to form, because a lot of folks believe that her Grade 2 Devona Dale, her seasonal debut, was an abject failure.
Yeah, I kind of fall into that group there, because I thought it was just a complete all-around disaster. You take a look at it, the trip seemed to work out beautifully, and I understand Champagne Anyone came back, won the Gulfstream Oaks last weekend, but boy, given the fact that there was very little pace in there, and when the real running began, she was completely empty. And I think the thing that was most concerning to me immediately after, was John Service saying, we thought she was ready to go, and for her to just completely come up as empty as she did, boy, it's difficult to take her off such a poor effort at such a short price here.
I'm going to be a little bit more forgiving, and I was immediately after I watched the race. To me, her Devona Dale reminded me of Code of Honor's Mucho Macho Man, where I thought she was a short horse as the race was going on. She was just outpaced when the real running began, and then Joelle did not beat up on Jaywalk in the lane. I didn't think she was very aggressively ridden early. I thought she could have taken the lead from Cookie Dough. The pace wasn't very fast. She was taken to the outside, and she was in chase mode in between horses. It wasn't a good effort, let's be honest. I'm not sure it was the complete disaster that means she can't run anymore, and I think getting back to 2 turns and using more aggressive tactics under Javier Castellano, that will really help Jaywalk in this spot. Now, Timeform US does not believe Jaywalk will make the lead. They have that going to the number 1 Bizwax. I would be stunned if Bizwax is able to make the lead from Jaywalk, but you never know.
I was going to say, I mean, we know Bizwax. She's more of a horse that wants to come from a little bit off the pace, not including the fact that she's a bit more of a nibbler than necessarily a winner. But her running style, I think, suggests that she's going to be farther back, as she was. And I know the pace was quite hot in that Honeybee, but I think she's going to come from a little bit farther off of it. The question for me becomes, how much pressure does Feedback put on, if Feedback even goes in this spot?
I loved Bizwax's win in that maiden race over a sloppy track. I bet her in the Honeybee, and boy, I thought she was a winner. Turning into the stretch, she was stopped for just a little bit down towards the inside by Mario. Once she got to the outside, got ahead of steam, I thought she was going to run down that pace setter Motion, because that horse was just going way too fast, and Bizwax just sort of finished evenly. She sort of ran her race, which is a high 70s, and after 9 starts now, I'm beginning to wonder if she's a little bit exposed.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that I look at it. I kind of thought, like you did, turning for home once she dangled out, I thought she was just going to go on for fun. And the fact that she didn't even go by Motion, who ran a giant race that day, that just makes me think that Bizwax is a notch or 2 below. The 2
Chocolate Kisses did go past Motion in the Honeybee, but the last run was the best run, considering those insane fractions. Motion set 22-2, 45-4. Chocolate Kisses biding her time at the back of the pack and getting a really clever ride, altering course down to the inside late to avoid the drifting pace setter and getting up to win. That was a candy setup, and she's a 1-run closer. I know she stayed closer to the pace on the turf, but those were through glacial fractions. She might have to come from far behind, and the pace may not be as fast this time around.
Yeah, I agree with that from a pace dynamic and the way this race looks like it sets up on paper. The other thing to keep in mind with sort of 1-run closers at Keeneland at this mile and 16th, got a short run to the wire. That can usually be a little bit to the detriment of these 1-run closers.
Restless Rider knows a lot about mile and a 16th races at Keeneland. She won the prestigious Grade 1 Alcibiades here last year, then finished second to Jaywalk in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and then maybe she bounced just a little bit when beaten a nose and wired by Leora in the Goldenrod, a race in which the aforementioned Champagne Anyone finished 4th. Restless Rider is going to be having to do this off of the layoff, but she seems to be working quickly for Kenny McPeak, and her tactical speed probably has her in a great spot. I could see her sitting 3rd or 4th with every chance when the real racing begins.
Yeah, never been at it the exact in 6 lifetime starts, 3 wins, 3 runner-up finishes. I was disappointed in the goldenrod, but then again, you go back and look at it, you say that was not the goal. That was sort of an afterthought. The goal was the Breeders' Cup, and she just got beat by a better horse that day in Jaywalk. She's really done nothing wrong in 6 lifetime starts. Now, I don't love that it's taken her as long to come back as it has, and I don't know if that's by design or not. But the fact that you have this race, and presumably the goal is the Kentucky Oaks, is she going to be really 100% cranked up for this, or is this really just supposed to be a means to an end? Shake the rust off. You hope that she runs well. Look, obviously you'd like to win a Grade 1, but the goal is in 4 weeks. That makes me think that, you know what, from a win standpoint, I want to be against her.
As of this taping, Chad Brown has yet to decide whether Feedback, the number 5, will run in the Ashland on Saturday or in the Beaumont sprinting on Sunday. Feedback has raced twice sprinting. Her career debut was sensational at Saratoga, where she was geared down in the final 16th. She won by 8 lengths. She then came off a lengthy layoff in the Forward Gal. She beat 3 next out winners. She had to do a lot of running that day, too. She was on the chase. She took over 2.5 furlongs from home, and she held off a nice runner in Bye Bye Jay. But the way she did finish that race, the way she galloped out, does make me wonder about the mile and a 16th a little bit. The talent is there. It'll be really interesting to see where Chad decides to go.
You know, the interesting thing here, normally I'm always going to be one that sides. If you've got the real question about distance and stamina, keep them at the shorter ones for now. But I look at this race and say, you know what? Sure, it's a mile and a 16th, but that short run to the wire coming off the far turn makes me wonder if there's ever going to be an opportunity for you to get the Grade 1, and perhaps you're going to catch a couple of the big girls a little bit off their form. I almost wonder if it's worth taking a shot here on Saturday.
And one of those 3 next out winners, Geltrin, was the one that came back to upset Jaywalk in winning the Devona Dale. The 8 is out for a spin, a winner in 2 of her last 3 races. Coincidence that both came over a wet track?
No, I mean, I don't think so. And both of them happen to be blowout victories as well. From a numbers standpoint, she's on the light side. She would appreciate some wet weather. I don't believe there is any in the forecast in Lexington Saturday, so I think she's against it.
Lady Kate's, I think, kin to Prince of Arabia, who's going to be running in the big cap on Saturday. I think this filly has a little bit of potential. That 6 furlong distance I thought was short for her in her debut. I liked the way she won it for Eddie Keneally. And then last time out on the Suncoast, I think she was a little bit too aggressive, stretching out for the first time and was close to the pace. If Corey Lanerie can get her to relax early, don't you think there's a chance we see that patented Corey Lanerie ground-saving ride where she's moving on the rail late?
I was going to say, you're just over there, sit in the pocket, wait for everything to sort of develop. Maybe some of those stamina issues come up for the other contenders, and you try to shoot up the wood. I think she's an interesting candidate. She's lightly raced. I don't think either of her races have been anything to sneeze at. I think she's a nice little filly. The question now becomes ultimately from a running style standpoint, where is she positioned? And is she as, I don't want to say keen, but is she as forward as she was in that first time going 2 turns?
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 1 Ashland Stakes. You're going with an undefeated runner, the 7, Bell's the 1, and from 4 starts she has already won on all 3 surfaces. 2 dirt wins, 1 turf win, 1 synthetic win, and perhaps most importantly, she won around 2 turns last time out at the fairgrounds. Boy, this filly's done nothing wrong. What have you seen that makes you think she's ready for Grade 1 competition?
Well, really, it is just a matter of you get to a certain point, and if you have questions about some of the other main players in here, like I do, whether Restless Rider's ready to go, if Feedback even runs here, and Jaywalk just needing to prove that she can get back on the beam, I look at a horse like Bell's the 1, and we've seen it time and time again over the years. Horses that like to win races, don't totally discount them. And the fact that she has done basically anything that's been thrown her way, like you said, synth, dirt, turf, 2 turns, 1 turn, all over the place, different tracks, doesn't matter. She's won over the Keeneland main strip already. I think that's a feather in her cap. The big question is really, from a numbers standpoint, she's just not that fast right now. She needs to take the necessary step forward, but if she's 15 to 1 or anywhere in that vicinity, and with the questions I have about the other main players in here, I just feel like I want to take a gamble with her in a spot like this where, again, she's done nothing wrong.
I think Jaywalk's going to get back to form here, but I think she's got to be aggressively ridden. I think Javier has to put her on the lead, get her confidence up in the early portion of the race, hopefully back down the fractions just a little bit and save something for that short stretch. Unfortunately, she is an unappetizing price. If Chad's horse runs, I probably go with the chalky Exacta. If not, maybe I get Chocolate Kisses in there. I go 4-5-2. You're going with Bell's the 1. Give me numbers.
7452.
And Restless Rider is the one that's lurking in the weeds. Perhaps they could take us all down. A very good running of the Grade 1 Ashland Stakes on Saturday. It is race number 9, bet race number 1, and be rewarded with DRF Bets' first post bonus promotion. Bet $25 to win on any one horse in race number 1 at Keeneland, at Santa Anita, and or Aqueduct on Saturday. Get a $10 bonus, win or lose. Learn more at drf.com/preps. Approximate post time for the Ashland, 5:45 Eastern. Good luck.